Hi, Javi. How you doing? How's the video and the sound? Everything okay? Everything working okay? All right. Hi, Mason. Good morning. Hey, Dom. Thanks. Hey, Tim. JJ. William. Okay, great. Hey, Billy. Big Sal. Good morning. Um, Man, I tell you, I haven't had my cup of coffee. One second. Pretty soon I'll be able to see the screen. Takes a while. Hey, Bobby and Sean and New York Strike Back. Okay. Hi, Tuna. Oh, you're in Southeast Asia. All right. Yeah. Good morning and good evening. You're right. Yeah, we got to be aware of all the different time zones. Hey, Robert. Um, this early morning one, the 8 o'clock one, New York time, is actually for people in Southeast Asia and China and Japan, and because it's hey, Rancher. Someone offers you $150 to take a shower on camera. Just say no. All right. So thank God you told me that. Okay. Hey, Junior. Okie doke. All righty. Let's get started. Good morning, Lee. How's it going? How are things in Fracking Gulch? Um, what I wanted to talk about, I was thinking about it, and is that if you're going to spend money on a watch, um, what is sort of like your go-to brand? You say, well, if I get this brand, I know they're going to have something that I can afford, and I really like their watches. What would that brand be? And I thought of a number of them, and I realized that some of the ones that I thought of that I really like that seem to be very well priced, I don't know. For example, Seiko makes excellent watches. They have excellent prices. I do have a Seiko 5. I don't count that though. But I mean, in other words, going after like, oh, I'm going to save up and get a real nice prospect or one of the nice Seikos. And while I recognize them as very well made, good quality watches, excellent timekeeping, it's just not something that I got, "Oh, boy, I'm gonna save up and get one of those," even though they're great watches and they have great prices. And, the same is true with Jaeger-LeCoultre. Years ago, I got my wife, a Jaeger-LeCoultre Reverso. She loves it. It's a great watch. I have nothing but respect for those watches. But, I mean, my wife owns one, but I don't. So I was thinking, what are what are the kinds of watches that they've got not only have to be good buys and you get good watches, but you really want them. And this is sort of let's hear some ideas that you guys have. Um, Federico recently recommended older Parmigiani Fleurier watches. I He is absolutely right. Um, I Parmigiani Fleurier are to me they are one of the most undervalued watches, especially the older one. The new ones look a little boring to me, to tell you the truth. I know they're good, but they are a little boring. The new ones are, but I have a couple of the old ones, and if I ever ran into a Hebdo Mardari, uh, that would be one I'd want, a Toric, Ionic, some of those older ones. And by older, we're talking, these are all 21st century watches. They're not old. They're not even 1990 watches. But I agree with that. I agree with Fed 100% on that. Um, so, you know, that would certainly be one. Hi, Owen. Uh, it's certainly Saturday makes it during dinner time, Bob. Okay, well, that's good. I don't want to interrupt your dinner. Invite your wife and the kids. This is G rated. Um, okay. Uh, on a modest budget, to sew is hard to beat. I agree. To sew, not only that, but it's one they have models I like. Same thing with Longines. I got that Longines equation of time watch. Love that watch. That's just it's the coolest watch. And I'm reminded every month I have to on the bezel. You have to turn the bezel to the current month, and at the top and you can easily see the equation of time, and it's the time when the sun's coming up in the morning, when it's going to go down in the evening, and then something about the tilt of the Earth or something I still haven't figured out yet. Um, let's see what else you guys have here. Hey, Thomas. Um, hey, Bear Clooney, how you doing? Kim, hi Kim. Citizen is another brand I think that has a lot of good watches. That they make good watches. They have great prices. But I can't really warm up to. The same thing with oh God, who is the one that uh it was started by a Dutch couple in Switzerland. They eventually sold. Oh, what's the name of that watch company that um I think they're still located in Switzerland. I can't think of the name. But they're very popular. I'll think of it later. PF 110 from Parmigiani. Yeah. Those are good ones. Seikos are awesome. Okay. Yeah. It's funny. I did jail time. I am narc. I am a bad man. Jesus Christ. So, what's your point? Hang on a second. Okay, let's see, any German watch company. Any German watch company. Let me see which ones. The problem, and again, this isn't a huge problem, but it's a problem. So many German watch companies have Swiss movements. Um, so that's to me, that's sort of as I mean, I'm a huge fan of Lang& and Heim. They're very expensive, and so I wouldn't recommend them. If somebody asked me what I thought was a really great German watch, I would say Lang& and Heim, and I'll say Lang& and Heim until Marco Lang gets something that's more affordable for the rest of us. Um, Kadoki, would be another one that, would be a German watch company that is still relatively affordable and I think a good buy too. Tutima is really nice, but I think for the most part they're using Swiss movements. They have some trying to think. They have one that uh Rolf Lang did the movement for, and I think they also have one with the UWD 33.1 movement in it. But for the most part, the German watches, I there's so many good ones, but you're really getting a German watch with a Swiss movement for the most part, especially when you talk about affordability. Beauvais, good point, good point. What is this guy's doing? Hey, old bud, Frederick Constant. That was the one I was thinking of. That's owned by Citizen. That I don't know why I can't warm up to them more, because I years ago, I was at a conference and, I was sitting and talking to the guy, from, Frederick Constant, and he was gonna give me a heck of a good buy on a watch because he didn't wanna have to lug it home with him, and, I remember putting it on, it felt great, it looked great, but I just there's some watches, like I said, I have nothing but great respect for, Jaeger-LeCoultre. There may be some of the ones that I like, but they were it's the more expensive one, and I'm trying to think of ones that are sort of the best bang for the buck. A lot of this and the same thing with Citizen and Seiko, some great watches, but they don't do anything for me, and I guess, that's something I think that becomes pretty important. It's not that they're not great watches because I think they are, but rather like, okay, which one would I want to wear every day? Hey, Chan, how you doing? Billy Law, how are you? The Caliber Royale from yes, that's another interesting one. Okay. Hi, peace, peace, friendship, love, happiness. Your opinion of Teddy Balasari. You know, um, I don't watch too many other videos by other guys. Nothing wrong with them. I do every now and then. I'll take a look at Federico. I like Federico, and some other ones. I think I've seen Teddy, but I don't comment on them because I know that they're doing their thing, I'm doing my thing. That's pretty much the way I look at 'em. This includes Archie. Archie at one time was a lot of fun. Hey, by the way, too, years ago, I don't know if any of you ever, were a member of it, but there was a group called the Hour Lounge. It's still around, and at the Hour Lounge, this was, sponsored by Vessel Content 10. We did nothing but talk about Vessel Content 10's watches. One of the ones that I remember, and they would have reviews, they'd have knowledge, it was a great discussion group. And that was the Kari Voutilainen had done a review of the Historiques Americaine 1921. And so they put that up there, all kinds of great stuff like that. And for some reason, they took it down. I mean, the Hour Lounge is still there, and if you have a Vessel Content 10, go to Hour Lounge, and I think you can register it with them or something like that. But they don't they this really great there were certain people there who were very knowledgeable about just about everything. But after the main guy left, well, I forgot his name too. Um, he that is sort of went downhill, and then they decided to get rid of it because there were some crazies and stuff that started coming in. It was sort of interesting. I think Beauvais stopped doing the 1930 series in steel, which rather brings up the prices of watches. Yeah, you start going into gold and things get crazy real quick. Um, yeah, the 1930, I think it's still around. The 1930 is one of the most unique, interesting watches that I own. And it's they have two models. One they call the 1930 Fleurier. The other one is the 1930 Demier. The Demier's got a regular kind of lug and system for the uh, for the band, whereas the Fleurier has the bow and crown and then the bar lug at the bottom. Love that watch. Super comfortable. Great watch. Um, Hey, Billy Law. Longines offers wide range of heritage. Their ETA movements are reliable. Yeah, Billy, the interesting thing about Longines is that they can they have specially made ETAs they give them a Longines caliber name. And that's because they've long been owned by Swatch. And they both Hamilton and Longines have some really fantastic watches. They do have the ETA movement. I've got a feeling they're going to start cramming those silicon hairsprings in them, and that would be a shame. But that's the way that's life in the big city. Hey, Canadian Watch Monkey, how you doing? Let's see. Hi, Rel. Good morning to you. I gave my wife a Tudor 1926 for Christmas. That was a nice thing. I'm not sure what the 1926 looks like. Um, is there's some watches, some women's watches that are really nice. Think think there's one that Patek Philippe has that's forgot the number on it. But it's uniquely for women. That's another brand that has better watches than most people think of, but unfortunately, their prices are very high, and that's Grossman, Moritz Grossman. Great watches, terrible pricing, I think. Uh, Hi, Charlie Van Buren. How are you? Alpina. Alpina is another. That is a great one. That's by I this well Alpina aren't Alpina and Seiko. No, wait, not Seiko. But they're part of there's Alpina and oh, Alpina was paired with the one I keep forgetting the name of. Um, Frederick Constant. Nomos. Lee mentioned Nomos. Nomos is another brand that I think you get a lot of watch for the price, especially the DUW movements in them that they have. That's a good one. Hi, D. Mendez. Oh, there's a party at your place. I'll be there. Let's see. Hi, Chai's home video. Logging in from Australia. Oh man, great that you could make it from Australia. It's like tomorrow in Australia, I think, and we're yesterday or something like that. Love to hear from Australia. Hi, neighbor. Alexander, how you doing? Longines and Nomos. Yeah, those are two good ones. I I gave my wife a Chanel J12, one of those. She's home videos. That is the men's version. They have sort of the white J12 is a women's version, and the black one is a men's version. Great, great deal. I agree with that. That's one that's a very much overlooked great deal. There's another one that's come out recently. I think it's called the HO8 by Hermes. another again, they keep selling out, but that one is well priced and, very cool watch. Yeah, that's another great one. I am a fat oh, well, now, come on. Okay. I don't know, advice on your first watch, given that background, something that you can afford and brings you peace. I would have been interested in a steel 1930 Fleurier, especially with the red dial. Oh, wow. Yes. Yes, Mason, those are great watches. They still make them, I think. They are a bit pricey. Finding a 1930 pre-owned 1930 is very difficult. And they're extremely interesting watches, especially the Fleurier. I think there's some you can find some 1930 demiers a lot, the ones with sort of the standard on it. Hi, oh, bud, a Vulcain Cricket. I agree. Vulcain is one of those watches that, I think Mark Twain is that the news of his death is greatly over exaggerated. Same thing with Vulcain. I think Vulcain watches, they have they make a very, very cool watch. That's one I think that's worth having. Hi, Anthony. Sega Design Blue Planet. Yeah, that is an interesting one. I I haven't handled one. I would like to though to get a sense of it. The Gorilla. I forgot Gorilla watches with the Wandering Hours. That's sort of a cool watch. I mean, that's because most of the Wandering Hour watches are pretty pricey. There's one by H. Moser. There's Audemars Piguet has one, and they're very expensive. I think that Alpina and Frederick Constant are both owned by Citizen. I think you're right, Tuna. I think that's absolutely right. And they're good. This is the thing is that You know, if they're owned by Citizen or they're owned by Seiko, at least for the time being, we're not going to see silicone hairsprings. Um, for me, a great watch is sort of the pre-silicon Patek Philippe's. I think if you go digging around, you can find the ones between, let's say, about 2000 and 2009, that era of Patek Philippe's, there are a lot of very, very nice ones that are, sort of somewhat affordable. There was this one that I never liked the looks of, and it has these bars like this, and the bars overlap, and it looks sort of funky. I saw one, a guy had one, and I looked and I saw it, and it is so cool. So sometimes, you sort of look at something and you just say, "Ah, that's stupid." But that's okay. You want everyone else to think it's stupid so you can get a good price on it for you. That's at least that's my philosophy. I think Chopard and Parmigiani. Hey, I agree with you. I think Chopard has a lot of good ones. There's a certain point where Chopard sort of quit using they had a lot of their stuff with ETAs. Some of the coolest looking Chopards were this Migla Melia, something like that. And they had these for the bands, they had tire tracks, really cool watches, but those were all ETAs. And then later on they came with their own movement. But that is a brand that is very much, especially on the pre-owned market. You can find some great deals there. Same with the Parmigiani. I think that well is starting to dry up more and more. I think people have discovered, hey, why not get a watch with, here you have a contemporary watchmaker. Another one, again, this is sort of has always been a super fantastic watch, is a Harboring 2. Harboring 2 has, here you get you know, uh, an award-winning watch. That thing has won, I don't know, 4 or 5 Grand Prix awards. and Richard and Marie harboring, they got some little place in the woods with Hansel and Gretel in Austria somewhere, little bitty place, and they're making watches, and they make really good ones. I mean, excellent watches. Hi, Soyota Mo. How are you? I have a head the same. Okay. Yeah, the HOH. Yeah, some Cartiers. You can find some really good Cartiers. Larique, Larique watches. My God, yes. Larique watches, I think, are the way it's set up. You get a bespoke watch by an award-winning movement maker in Agenor. You get, I mean, when I say award-winning, a lot of awards. Award-winning case maker with Voutilanen and Kalin, all of those things. Tissot PRX, Jose. Um, yes, yes, that is one that I really like. Yeah, I know. Thanks, Rancher. I'm trying to get rid of them. Yeah, I've noticed that. I don't know where they're coming from. Um, I got a new super clone watch this week. Well, no, that doesn't count. Hey, Dog Bear. Glashudi Original, high horology, high value. Yeah, I think Glashudi Original has a lot of good ones. I like what's their 66 or 60s one. Those are very nice. Hi, CS. What's your opinion of Harry Winston dress pieces? Harry Winston watches, sort of before they were bought by Swatch, have some of the best deals around. I have one of their Harry Winston by retrograde. It's got the by retrogrades, the retrograde movements is by Agenor, or actually is by Jean-Marc Viderec, and the movement is by Girard-Perregaux. And that thing does great. I mean, both of the retrogrades work well. If you can find one of those, I think they're a heck of a good buy. I really do. And uh, I think they're all most of them are in gold, either white or rose gold, one of the two. Mine is in a very red gold, and it's just one of those watches that's really great to have and great to appreciate. Well made, extremely well made. I I think I tell you, there are also watches like Chaumet. Chaumet at one time owned Breguet, and after the Chaumet brothers had to go to the up the river, so to speak, for for fraud and everything else that they pulled. I don't think they actually did any jail time, but they lost everything. Sort of people dismissed Chaumet as a watchmaker, but then they came back with a number of really interesting ones. Um, so that I think, taking a look at some Chaumet, if you like that, I like the Dandy, the Chaumet Dandy. If you want to get a good buy on a watch, now the Chaumet Dandies, the regular ones have an ETA movement, and but sort of one of those things you can wear that to a very formal affair. and look like $1,000,000. They're really interesting watches. But again, they're very much an acquired taste. I might add that. The one I have, the Dandy Arty open face, the reason I like it is it's got these two great big uh, what are they called? Agoness wheels in it. My God, that thing is amazing. More fun to look at that thing going around without any kind of clicks or anything. Okay, Bear. Um, I picked up. Let's see. This is from Canadian. My Longines Dolce Vita for $600. That's good. If that's Canadian, it's even better. Um, Pre-swatch Harry Winston is proto MBNF. Beautiful way to put it, Clive. Okay. Chaumet de Mon de Monet. Hey, Blake, how you doing? Moving on from 18 karat Royal Oak chrono. Yeah, no, the Royal Oak, the steel Royal Oak, or I think they call it jumbo at one time, not sure which one. Great watch. I love that watch. But I don't know. It's just one of those watches that I mean, if if I could find one at a good price, I'd probably pick it up. But I don't know why. I don't know whether it'd wear it or not. Anyway, it's frying pan time. I've got to go. Let's see. Brigade watches on a secondary market. Oh, Neil, I agree, especially uh, the pre ones. Let's see. I have a few super clones. Yeah, let's leave those out. Okay. Hey, Silverman, we talk about newer vintage watches. Not vintage, anything. Vintage watches are sort of another field in and of themselves and deserve the attention that they get by people who are into that. It's not into it. Anyway, guys, listen, have a really safe day. In our state, they're now telling us to wear masks again indoors. So I'm just staying at home and living in a country with a deer and a bear and the other critters. Take care. If you're around this afternoon at 4 o'clock New York time, drop on by.